That joke is hurting me. That pun, ay, Gewalt. I was having such a happy holiday, such a good Hanukkah, and then, my friends, I hear that. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize on behalf of Dave Lefkowitz, the host and producer of this program, for that wretched pun. But oh, no more wretchedness. Now we have delight. Now we have joy. My friends, it is time to welcome to the neighborhood a musician, a writer, a novelist, and a cool dude. His name is JIM KNABLE, rhymes with Knadle, and he's coming to the neighborhood to talk with me, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. Why is he putting a dildo up his nose? What the hell is that? What is that in front of you there?
It's a microphone. Does it work?
Oh, it's a microphone. Okay, there we go. Yes, you sound fantastic. This is good. So are you going to favor us with a song before we even begin?
Sure, I could. I thought you were going to be getting dressed during this.
No, I'm born dressed, essentially.
Okay, well, then this is still in honor of you.
Thank you.
Right. This is something you might recognize from the old days. We'll see. And keep the tracks before the train. Never turn your back on rain. Everything will stay the same until you change. And keep the tracks before the train. Everything is just the same. People turn around and change when you change. When people change, people change, people change. Take me to the wooden shed with a pitchfork, stone, and bed. There's a whole lot that's been said, but not done. When you're dead and underground or on your head and making sound, it's just instead of going around that you come. People change, people change. Fiddle play and guitar strum, look what we have overcome. Oh, and I can't believe what we have overcame. Looking out across the town, rooftops red and black and brown. There's some people that I found that are strange. People change, people change, people change. This is a part we could sing together. I'm not sure we'll sing, but it goes, yeah, da 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 da, too high, yeah, da 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 da, same thing, yeah, da 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 da, yeah, da 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 da, they just go nuts, da 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 da.
Thank you. What a catchy number from.
That's only half the song. I decided not to play the whole thing.
No,
yeah.
It's just the right way to start this interview with JIM KNABLE. Now that song was it the first Randy Bandits album or which one with Bluebeard was it from or which?
It was from Redbeard. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Redbeard, Bluebeard. I have color issues with my eyes. So it was
prominently featured on Dave Lefkowitz's show in 2006, I believe.
2000, you look terrific, by the way. Welcome back to the neighborhood. Actually, they don't know what you looked like back in 2006 because it was just a radio thing back then. But you are JIM KNABLE, the founder of the Randy Bandits, the lead songwriter. So it's essentially, it's like the Jimi Hendrix experience. It's basically Jimi Hendrix and some guys.
Yeah, so you just have to pretend the guys are like right here and here, and they're.
Oh, I see one. Yeah, this.
Hand puppet guys.
So how are you, by the way? In the middle of a pandemic, do you live in New York or Brooklyn? Where the hell are you?
I live in Brooklyn. Yeah. I mean, I could sort of show you out the window if I could turn this.
Oh, show me the window. That's a door. That's a window.
Look, there's Brooklyn. There it is.
Whoa! Wow, Brooklyn. Oh boy, it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? But
it's a nice gray day in Brooklyn. You know.
So how are you though? How are you and yours? Because you have kids now.
I do. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. Two boys.
Yeah.
They're my wife mercifully took them out to Trader Joe's right now.
So they're fine. Do you know people who have had the pandemical thing? Are you?
Yeah, we have not been sick yet, and I'm knocking on whatever.
Right.
But yeah, we've had friends who have had the COVID. And generally, they've been okay. I have had one friend who lost her parents.
Wow, that was careless of her.
we've had, well, it was sad. And a few of the, sort of playwrights like, Terrence McNally, and of course songwriters like John Prine and things like that that have been,
But you know you might know McNally personally. I don't know. You're a playwright.
I met him a couple times, and we corresponded a little bit. And I was a finalist for an award with his name on it, so I was always very proud of that.
Oh, so let me explain. I didn't really give you a full, proper introduction, but you are a songwriter and a playwright and a novelist, and you're constantly. That's one of the nice things about being a polymath, if I may get away with using that word. When you get tired of one thing, you just go and work on another, and they're all creative and they're all fun. So that's
true. It's sort of like separate streams of salvation. Like when one thing isn't working out, like, oh, I'll be this for a little while. But it's very generous of you to call me a novelist, even though my website does so. But it's true that I've written at least 2.5 novels, one of which is, had a little bit of attention on a website where it was serialized. But I mean, when I get into my 60s, then I think I'll really hit my stride as a novelist. I'm looking forward to that.
God willing. I mean, is that where you want to go? I mean, because that's a huge commitment. It's one thing to write a song, which can take months, but it's not like you're sitting there 5 hours a day, week after week, working on the same song. Or even if you write a play, a couple of months, it's done. All the rewrites are done. But a novel is like,
Well, not only that, but novels take solitude in a way that, plays can't survive in solitude because you have to hear them out loud. But novels, I feel, when I've written anything resembling a novel, it's because I've had alone time, and often like intense alone time to, like being laid off from a job and having nothing else to do for a little while, or, something like that. So I think it just requires like a reason to talk to yourself more than anyone else.
I talk to myself all the time. So are you in the alone time? Do you have a day job? Because all the things that you do, fantastic. You're a playwright. Fantastic that you're making music. I'm guessing that doesn't help feed 2 children who are under 10. Well, one is 10. You know what I'm saying?
What did it did? Yeah. No, but I do have a nice day job as a staff writer, so I still get to call myself a writer. It's an institution that I actually love a lot. It's the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History. So it's all about American history all the time.
Yeah.
They mainly exist to help K through 12 history teachers, but there's so many other things they do that involve like history scholars and involve the Hamilton musical and the education component of it. So it's this really cool organization that does a lot of different stuff. And I my job is to write stuff. You might as well call me the stuff writer instead of the staff writer.
Oh, no, but is it Yona Yudelman? What the hell is it? It's who?
Gilder Lehrman. So Richard Gilder and Louis Lehrman.
Nice. They sound like nice Jewish boys. Which,
That's deceptive. They're not exactly, but they made a lot of money and also were very interested in history. And they have, especially Richard Gilder, who just passed away this year. He, funded everything in New York and, brought back Central Park from the dead, and then natural history, and
Gilder the builder.
Gilder was the builder, and Lou Lehrman has his own personality thing. He ran for governor in the 80s. They're both kind of on the politically conservative side of the spectrum, but their hearts are socially liberal and got more and more liberal, and the organization is kind of like apolitical, but now that history has been politicized, it is what it is.
It is, right? So even in your day job, though, you still get to write. You get to do something that is kind of creative. Does that get in the way, though? Because it's that old Tennessee Williams thing where
it does.
Dave's wife is saying it absolutely does. But does it get in the way of like when Tennessee Williams he was working these miserable, brainless, soulless day jobs, but that he had the energy when those were done, or in his quiet moments, to scribble a poem on a shoebox or to go home and write a play, as opposed to, all day I'm writing things.
Yeah, it's like there's a bit of an age thing to it. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't mind and maybe even preferred having less meaningful jobs like that, just because I could, even do my own stuff at work more and have that brain space. Now I think like it's important for my ego to have a job where I actually care about what I'm writing, and I do find a lot of the work that I'm doing, especially this organization, really inspiring for everything from songs to plays to, getting to taught a course over the summer called American History Through Popular Music, where I got to do this, where I got to sing songs and teach history about everything from Yankee Doodle to...
You should pay them for a job like that. You should. That's just fun. That's just great.
It was pretty fun. It was like one of the biggest perks so far. And it was all COVID related because everybody was scrambling. Like, what do we do now that, we don't necessarily have all this physical programming? And the Institute, like a lot of other places, like went online hardcore and did what they did best to, actually even more people, because suddenly, people across the country could tune in for things all over.
Since you've been steeped in history, I think you've always had some kind of interest in history, because some of your plays, a number of your plays, they harken back to the Rome and the Greeks and just more modern history. What is the pull of history for you?
I think I've always liked having things to get obsessed with and entranced with. And there's something about real historical people or eras that, allow for me to go through intense research and getting to know something. And that's just always been kind of interesting to me. And then to see what that sparks creatively, whether it's using a character like, Charles Dickens. I have a play about when Charles Dickens met Edgar Allan Poe, which really happened.
When Charles Dickens did what?
He met Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In 1842.
Yeah.
You're right.
In fact, he met him, and later on he was raving about it.
Well, no joke. No, but seriously, did you know that there's a huge connection?
No.
Yeah. So Poe was also a critic. That's how he made the most of his money.
Right.
And he wrote a lot.
He was Poe.
Right. He wrote all these reviews of Charles Dickens's work. And let's see. So Charles Dickens had just come out with Barnaby Rudge, which features a raven prominently in it as sort of like a sidekick character. And Edgar Allan Poe bashed this book. Shortly after, we know, these are all historical things that we know, that Charles Dickens met with Edgar Allan Poe twice in Philadelphia in 1842. After that meeting, a few things happened. One, Poe never wrote another review of Charles Dickens' work. Two, Charles Dickens tried and failed to get Poe a publisher in England, which would have been at the time a really big deal for an American to get. And then also, there was this Raven poem that suddenly popped up. So there are a lot of connections. And also, you notice that Dickens' work gets a little spookier. He wrote A Christmas Carol shortly after that.
So,
and his also work gets a little bit deeper. So the play that I worked on, I got really obsessed with both their writings and what might have happened at the time with these two men. And then also Edgar Allan Poe's wife is part of it. Virginia, who's his cousin, they have that relationship.
Oh, yikes.
And
okay.
He was 18 at the time. Or maybe they married when she was, no, she was 18 at the time. She was younger when they married. But so I got really into, the history and then creating another story within that, where I kind of got to make those characters my own.
Is there a play of yours that you are the most proud of, that you think is either the best or the one that's closest to your heart of hearty hearts?
I have a hard time saying that, because there are different reasons for different plays to mean a lot to me. The play that sort of got me the most traction as a playwright is called Spain, and that kind of got the most productions. It's also the one that most critics didn't understand. So I still suffer the wounds of Spain as much as, I still love that play that I wrote in my, early mid 20s. But, then I've written a recent play that's an adaptation of a Thornton Wilder's first novel. That I love for completely other reasons.
Can I ask you, because you've had productions of your plays and a lot of readings and a lot of workshops, and you haven't made Broadway. I don't think you've had a major off-Broadway or region.
I have. For better or worse, I've had that happen at MCC in 2007.
Oh, man.
When I say for better or worse, I mean I'm no longer eligible for a lot of other grants, prizes, things like that, productions.
Because you have a professional credit. You've got to, yeah. But is it worth it? Is it, to just write play after play, and it might get done or gets done here or there? You don't make, diddly do, especially if you can't get grants or things like that, or win prizes anyway. Is it really, you can't stop yourself because you're a writer, but is it really worth going through the rigmarole and the pain and the birthing process and the editing of being a playwright?
I think it's a tricky question. For me, it was when I was in my teens, I kind of was identified or self-identified as a playwright, winning contests and, getting to college that way and then going through grad school and a dramatic writing program. So it was, a huge part of both my identity and what I loved doing. And then it was also the first thing that I really got like professional artistic recognition for and paid for. So in that sense, that was worth it. I have certain attitude now that I'm, in my 40s and dealing with, there's no way that I can be a hot young playwright now. There's no way that I can have my first, premiere New York production. So it's like, from that side of things, I don't even know quite how to answer, is it worth it? Other than it's what happened. It's what I've done. I haven't been doing a lot of playwriting in the last 2 years, honestly. And especially in the last year.
Yeah. Why bother? Like, who knows what plays are going to be a year from now,
I think I'm kind of like, I have balanced songwriting and playwriting mostly in my kind of creative output. And right now I am so deeply into songwriting that's what gives me both more satisfaction, and I just have more venues and avenues for expression.
No, speaking of the music, speaking of the songwriting, back in 2006 or whenever it was when you were on Dave's Gone By with Dave, you brought the band in. Is it the same personnel? Are they the same Randy Bandits, basically, or one or two gone, or how is it?
Yeah, there've been a couple swaps since 2006. So Chris Q. Murphy is definitely was there. Russ Kaplan was there, met with you. I think my old friend, roommate, bosom buddy, Stephen Alaman was there, but he moved to Nashville in, I believe, 2007. And then Spiff Wiegand, I think, was there too.
Spiff, I remember listening. There was a Spiff. Oh no, I fought it. No, but
so what happened between 2006 and 2009, which was our next album, Golden Arrow, was that Stephen moved to Nashville. Spiff was still very much with us. My brother ended up coming out from California to live in New York, and I, roped him into being our drummer for about 3 years, which is great. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He has a doctorate in composition now. He's brilliant. Also, Regina Bain was part of the whole mix. So from album to album, we kind of gained my brother. Stephen wasn't involved in the second album, but the core kind of group and also the inspiration of the Bandits, whatever the personnel shifts are, kind of remained constant. And then for this latest album, it's actually the same personnel that was on Golden Arrow. So Jay Buchanan came in on bass. That was another big change, to have a steady bass player. Sonny's on drums, got Russ on keys, Chris is on guitar, and Regina Bain does sort of like a guest vocal on one song.
So were you, when you were dealing with you have a recent, pretty new album out as the Randy Band, just came out, a couple of weeks ago, right? Or
Yeah.
What's it called?
Blue Reunion.
So you have Blue Beard. And
Red Beard.
No, God, it's Red Beard, and I have blue. What's with the colors? Wait, what? No.
There's no philosophy behind it. It just started happening and I went with it, because is it Ween that has the different colored albums or something? And
I don't know. I have Ween-ness, but I don't know from Ween.
There have been many black albums, but we, after coming up with an album title, I don't know if you've done this, is an arduous process, especially if you're working with other people where everybody's suggesting things all the time.
Right.
Is it going to be Queen Mab? Is it going to be, Thumb on My Nose, whatever. And then, so the first one we landed on Redbeard for no particular reason. And then the next one was like, well, what if we had another color thing in there? So we made it Golden Arrow. I had also, in between that, I had still have a play called Green Man, which is a play that I like, where I did a couple songs for, and then expanded into this secret album that we recorded, but never quite released. But I sort of released a couple years ago. So you got Redbeard, Green Man, Golden Arrow, and now you have Blue Reunion.
And I guess so. Pretty soon you're gonna have to do Ochre, or
Ochre. I'm taking suggestions already. I mean, my first idea was Silver Shriekers, saving that for when
when you're older. 70s. Yeah.
Just us running through a retirement home. Or
Chartreuse Moose would be another good one that might work for you.
What is it again?
Chartreuse Moose.
Chartreuse Moose. Just with the big moose, that gives us an animal to work with.
Just buy one of those boxes of the 64 colors of the Crayola and go through them. Burnt Umber. That's right.
Bert Umber would be great. Yeah, Sienna.
Yeah.
There's also Sienna. I mean, that's
Well,
nice.
we'd like to do a number from Umber for you, and then you just launch right in. There you go.
Right,
So
a number.
let me ask you though, in terms of were you planning to, when you were putting this album out before all this? Well, no, you put this out during this, so it's not like you were going to tour to promote it.
Well, here's what happened. I was like, it's been 11 years since I've recorded a Randy Bandits album. I begged many friends for money, and they were very generous, so they helped me fund it. And then found a studio to work with, the engineer to work with, and we started recording at the beginning of 2020. So like in January, February, even into March, before everyone got locked down,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of knew something was coming. So there was a little bit of a desperation to making sure we got some stuff tracked. But we got enough tracked. And then everybody went into their little isolation caves, and it was me working remotely with the engineer to kind of mix everything, and then the master. And, you know, so we got really lucky in that we all got to be in the same room recording together. So, you know, what you hear is us, you know, rehearsed, all the instrumentals were together. I tracked most of the vocals separately.
But it didn't make sense to do it and release it now as opposed to waiting until, I don't know, June of 2021.
That might have made more logistical sense in some ways, but for me, it had been so long since we had an album. I was like, I promised this to everybody who funded it, and kind of to myself, that I was going to release an album of our songs, my songs, this year. And I also just feel like it is a 2020 album in a lot of ways, even like Blue Reunion in terms of Blue kind of sad and getting together, but also Expectation looking together. And then even since the election, since the Blue side won, it's a Blue reunion. We're getting back together. So
blue everywhere, a little bit of red, because I like
to wear a little bit of blue in your
So
team.
you know what, Jim? Let us, since we have a little bit of time, why don't we, if you don't mind? I assume you have a song prepared from the new album. Yes, do you? I'm hoping.
Sure, I could play anything from the new album, really.
We'll play whatever you choose, and we will hear some Jim Knable music, because we're really Knable here on the Dave's Gone By program. I'm going to step away and let Jim take the floor.
All right. Well, this is a song I wrote in 2017, so keep that in mind. And it's hopefully grown and will be outdated next year. The machine is in the steeple, and it is not all right. Giving power to the people, and it is not all right. The bluebird fell the eagle, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. When they say he will get better, it is not all right. When they say you can't write letters, it is not all right. When your chains have turned to fetters, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. It's only rock and roll, but it is not all right. Going for an evening stroll, but it is not all right. The police are on patrol, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Through the chants and all the candles, it is not all right. Taking all that I can handle, it is not all right. And the Visigoths and Vandals say it's not all right. Everything is not all right. Pledge allegiance to the nation, it is not all right. You can take a paid vacation, it is not all right. Tell the doctors and the patients, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. You can't tell Jesus and Mohammed that it is not all right. Tell Moses and the Brahmins that it is not all right. Hanging on to hell is common, it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Tell the women and the men it's not all right. One more time again, it's not all right. This is not the end, and it is not all right. Everything is not all right. Everything is not all right.
Oh, and let me tell you, it's rather interesting because I have a friend who is paralyzed completely down the left side of his body. So he is all right. If you think about that, I don't know what that means. I'm very sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, we are chatting with and listening to singer, songwriter, and playwright Jim Knable. Now, Jim, we're going to talk to you a little bit longer, but remember, in just a few minutes, we will also be asking you to join Dave and his good friends, David Sheward and Leslie Oban Blake, in playing the
Explain that most people don't score.
the today, yesterday trivia quiz. So don't be nervous about that. A lot of times we have first timers on it and they get terrible scores. It's all right. There's no prizes involved.
I have no expectations, and I don't mind failing publicly.
There you go. See, failing in public, that is my life. That is my destiny on this planet, is to fail in public. I'm proud of it. But let me ask you also, I did not expect this from your look and from your name. You are a tribe person. You are a Yidel, yes?
I'm half tribal on the wrong side. So my dad's Jewish.
Oh, so what is your mom?
Not Jewish.
Wait,
She's like, Pennsylvania Christian, whatever that is. I think she barely knows which kind of Christian she is.
so were you raised interfaith or no faith, or what were you?
I was raised with an awareness that people had faith. We were mainly, Democrats. That was kind of the faith in the household.
So essentially Jewish, in a manner of speaking, left liberal.
Intellectually, yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, my father's side were definitely LA Jews in the sense that they, ate Chinese food and talked about things intellectually and liked art. And sometimes, they cared about Hanukkah and other holidays, but it was sort of a coming and going kind of thing. My dad always wished that he had a Christmas tree growing up, so he had that kind of Jewish.
So how much goes into your wife? What is she?
She comes from a Catholic family that's like legit Catholic. And again, they've also gotten more liberal through the years. Her parents have. And a large family. She got 6 siblings.
All right.
So a total of 7 kids.
Well, the Catholics would.
They did it right. But it's interestingly, I found a lot of my close friends and relationships have been with Catholic people. And I don't know why. Maybe there's a certain intensity or.
Wow, that's your cross to bear. But seriously, but did you have to make a decision about the children, or are they making their own decision?
Are you asking if they're circumcised?
Well, are they? The girl.
I'm not going to reveal that on it.
All right, fine, that's fine.
I'm just going to bring it up as a question.
Or take a tip from me. Yes.
Same thing. So we had some friends over last night who definitely are Jewish and practicing. So we lit the Hanukkah.
But how do you know? Did you feel for horns? What do you know? They're definitely.
She works for a Jewish magazine called, I shouldn't name it either, but it's like she's legit and Jewish feminist, super intellectual, and her daughters.
Lesbian? No, kidding, but yes.
Well, I mean, not actually not. But so we did that. So far we've done 2 nights of Hanukkah in a row, which I think is a record for our household. We're hoping for 3 tonight.
Light the lights. Very good for you.
But we have a little book where we read. I can't really do the prayers. Hebrew is beyond me, but we do stories about it, and we have a Christmas tree, and so we have St. Nicholas Day. There's an Advent calendar. We do all the holidays we can claim any relationship to.
Well, don't forget Shoah. Don't forget the miserable Jewish ones. Don't forget Yom Kippur, Shoah, Tisha B'Av. These are bring those to the children. They need to know how miserable the world is. You've got to instill that in them. Is an important thing. Let me ask you, one of the things that I do also enjoy reading, besides your plays and besides the things that you do other types of writing and freelance stuff and you review things, and I've discovered that your musical taste is very much kind of the producer of the show, Dave. You share a lot of taste about it. And you did a review just a few weeks ago of the new Bob Dylan album, Rough and Rowdy Ways. Yes. And I'm wondering, has it grown on you? Have you put it aside? Do you still listen to it as much as you did? Where, from what you were feeling about it, when you wrote about it was fresh. Yes. How has it lived with you for 4 or 5 months since?
When I wrote about it, it was a second listen, kind of reacting based on what I knew was coming. And it's only gotten deeper for me. I don't listen to it all the time right now, but I keep coming back to it. I love it a lot. I love it a lot more than Tempest. Tempest is the best. Most recent original album. But I loved Love and Theft in 2001, and that was sort of a soundtrack, a post 9/11, starting on 9/11 soundtrack. It was released on September 11, 2001.
Right. Yeah.
And Modern Times, I also really enjoy. But I feel like the new album gets to another area that I think is a direct result of his having delved into the Frank Sinatra songbook for the past few years, where he's
God knows he did.
even if not directly related, you can still tell like something knocked him around a little bit, and he's come up with a new way of expressing himself that I love. Speaking of doing things in public, I love seeing him go to the well in public, which is something that he's done throughout his career, where he had a couple folk albums in the 90s, World Gone Wrong. When in his career is like, what am I doing right now? I'm not really sure. He goes and like releases these albums of him doing cover songs. In the past 2 years, it's been this like head scratching thing of like, why is he doing,
And maybe that's just he needed to do that for himself in order to remind him why he wanted to be a songwriter, even if he isn't writing. The songs on the new album, Rough and Rowdy Ways, are not Rodgers and Hart. They're not that kind of writing at all. They're much more.
They're not, but they take some
poetry.
There are some different musical risks in terms of chord changes and things like that, where I can hear like, okay, he's not just doing 1-4-5 kind of progressions. And he's lyrically he's being, I think, even more adventurous and leaning into the fact that somebody gave him a Nobel Prize. It was like, okay, I guess I better earn this Nobel Prize in literature. So I really enjoy his lyrics on the new album. My least favorite song on it is probably the one that's got the most traction, which is the Murder Most Foul.
Really? Was it 57 minutes long? So like that.
Might as well. It's like 17 minutes. Apparently Fiona Apple plays piano on it. I just learned.
Oh, I did. Yeah. And I pick up a cup, I drink it up. There's a wall on the shelf. Then I'm touching myself. It's just like whatever comes into his head, he's gonna write it down. It's like Randy Newman writing at one point. There's a car outside. I think I'll go hide.
Yeah, I mean, like he had one of those on the what's the album that Time Out of Mind, the last track on that, which is like he's sitting in a coffee shop and a waitress comes and fills up his cup and asks him about women authors and
right. Or Erica Jong and
yes. There's some great lines in that, but it's like, yeah, I looked at my shoe and I thought about you. It's
true. And it's true. I can rhyme also. So let me ask you last question before we have you play one more tune and bring some other people in. What is your favorite either song or album of all time? Now we know you love Time Out of Mind, Dylan. I don't know if that's your favorite. Oh, I'm sorry, not Time Out of Mind. Love and Theft. It was your favorite of all time. What is your favorite song by anybody ever?
Do I like to do song or album?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Jerk. Both.
Again, I'm going to be a jerk and say it's going to be what I'm most interested in right now. And song, it's all going to be Guy Clark. So LA Freeway, the Guy Clark song, off of Old Number One, which is his first album. But Guy Clark is a guy who's sort of within the circle of kind of outlaw liberal Nashville or Texas songwriters in the 70s into 80s. He's kind of like the guy who brought them all together. Like he and his wife Susanna inspired and nurtured a lot of people, but he was also just a really brilliant songwriter on his own. And I first learned about him actually in Nashville, the Country Music Museum. Oh, wow. When I was like, I've always been into Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson. But it was, okay, there's this guy named Guy Clark. I should figure out who he is. And then he came off my radar again, actually, when Justin Townes Earle died. This often happens for me. People die and I find out about them. Right. Yeah. But I got really into Townes Earle after he died, and then discovered his dad, and then that led me on a train through Townes Van Zandt, and then back to Guy Clark, and that's what I'm really into right now. So cool. I'm gonna say Old Number One.
Jim Knable is not going to be playing a Guy Clark song unless you want to, but you are going to play one more tune before we get into bringing Dave back into the program to do the Today, Yesterday quiz for this Saturday, December 12th. So Jim, what song are we going to close out this interview with? It can be from the new album, but it doesn't have to be.
I might, because we're talking about Jewish things, I might go for a Jewish song.
Yes!
But we didn't even talk about my days as the Jubidour, like from 2015 through 18.
All right, very quickly, because I got we have one or two guests who are waiting to come in. So tell very quickly about the Jubidour stuff.
Okay. It's just the Unorthodox podcast, which is still going strong. It's one of the most popular podcasts in the world. but for reasons unknown, I became the Jubador for that, even given my questionable Jewish heritage. So this was probably the most successful song from that I'm going to play. It's called Holocaust Survivor Beauty Pageant Cutie Pie, based on a real event that happened in Haifa, Israel. Look at you rolling down the aisle, you survivor. Look at that beautiful smile as it shines. Think of every time you thought you'd never get out alive. You're a Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. Think of the horror people do unto each other. Think of man's search for meaning as he dies. Think of everything you've lost and can't recover, but know why. You're Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. You survive, you survive. When by every kind of right you should have died. You're alive, you're alive. Now you're at the beauty pageant, but you never even tried. Now you're at the beauty pageant, and you never should have tried. And now the guards, they were watching from the tower. And as soldiers, they came in after the war. And you tried to go home, but there wasn't a home to find. You're a Holocaust survivor, beauty pageant, cutie pie. You survive, you survive. When by every kind of right you should have died. You're alive, you're alive. And you never could have tried. Now you're at the beauty pageant, and you never could have tried.
Jim Knable there. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, by the way, the host and producer of Dave's Gone By. Jim, I think I speak for everybody. Saying, what the fuck? Where did that song come from?
Seriously. Well, that came from a news item that was on the Unorthodox podcast that I heard shortly into my time of being the Jubador there.
Yeah.
As a Jubador, I would come onto the sort of hour-long podcast and sing a song. It started with me singing a song based on letters to them. It was kind of a funny hit. And then this, based on this news item, I heard about a Holocaust survivor beauty pageant. And I was like,
okay. Yeah.
So I was picturing, like, what would the song be that they would sing? Here you
so this is when they were parading, like the Miss Sarajevo song, kind of. Yeah.
And it's like, that is my taste entirely, and I think a little bit yours, where there's a dark humor there, but there's also like a poignancy, and when I'm able to balance those things, I think that's who I really am. So. Wow.
Jim Knable. Jim, thank you for, first of all, talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon on Dave's Gone By. It's been great to have you in the neighborhood, but you're not going away because we are adding people. Here we go, because it's time to play a game. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our great friends of the neighborhood connecting with us. First of all, we've got David Sheward, former head of the Drama Desk and now a writer and blogger. Sorry? And well, I think Leslie won a game or two also. So they go back and forth in the game.
Dave, hi, I'm trying to come on. I'm having trouble.
Is it?
but I will be there momentarily.
That is the voice of Leslie Hoban Blake, a theater director and longtime theater critic. She is the co-host of Critic Circle and also the longtime co-host of the Two on the Aisle Theater Review Show with our friend Charlie Gross. David Sheward, he writes for, well, he used to write for Backstage. He also now writes for the David Desk. Oh, I've forgotten this week. It's some theaterlife.com
Right.
and Creative Something.
Cultural Weekly.
Cultural Weekly, damn it.
Culturalweekly.com.
Culturalweekly.com.
Yes.
And you are all saying hello to our friend of the neighborhood, Jim Knable, a playwright and a musician,
Hello.
head of the Randy Bandits. Hey, hello,
Hi,
everyone.
guys.
Hi.
There's Leslie. Leslie, we can see you, and I think we can hear you.
I can't see me. I'm on my phone. There's something screwy with my computer, so I'm just on my
We
phone.
can
Hello.
see you.
Good
The
morning.
queen of technical difficulties is with us, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. That's me. A different story every week, right?
It basically is.
Wow.
But it's great that you're all here. It's great that you're ready to play the today, yesterday quiz. It's not just theater questions, by the way. And I'll read by the way, before, I always want to jump into things and not be like, how are you guys feeling? How are you guys doing?
Good. Good. Not too bad.
Surprisingly well, all things considered.
I'm very happy about the Supreme Court's decision last night.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you guys in the past few weeks, you both, Leslie, you live in Manhattan. David, you live in Brooklyn also, like Jim? Queens. So have you eaten indoors over the past couple of months? Have you gone into a restaurant and
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
No, I have. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Occasionally I have. We've eaten outdoors also.
Right.
And occasionally we have eaten indoors. Earlier this summer we were upstate, my husband and I, and we were staying near Syracuse, in the Finger Lakes area. And there were quite a few, and there they were allowing indoor dining, but everybody was at a distance.
Right. What about you, Jim? Did you? You're out in Brooklyn. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, when the whole indoor dining shutdown thing happened, I was like, I can't think of anywhere nearby that has indoor dining. So I'm.
Right. Well, they certainly won't. I don't know. Is Brooklyn going to be affected the way New York City is starting Monday?
Well, I can speak for New York City. I mean, I can speak for Manhattan. I live on 10th Avenue. Well, I live on 12th Avenue and 42nd, but my neighborhood restaurants are on 10th Avenue in the 40s.
Yeah.
And all of them had both outdoor and indoor dining for a while. I've eaten outdoors. I'm having brunch tomorrow for what I think is the last time outdoors because it'll be 50. And then the weather plummets to 40 and 30 for the rest
And
of the
snow
night.
is on the way, yeah.
I know. So tomorrow's my farewell brunch outdoors. But the restaurant that I'm going to is owned by a friend of mine, Jacob Cohen. It's Meme on
Jewish.
40.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. Very much Jewish. And but it's a Mediterranean restaurant. It's a really lovely place. And I don't know what they're going to do. I just have no idea. They don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I feel for them terribly.
Well, they're doing takeout, and maybe they'll put chairs out in the middle of traffic so that people can eat outdoors.
The question of that, if it's cold. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I saw people eating outside. It was 42 degrees. I thought, wow, stalwart,
But aren't they putting like heaters in tents, or is that not safe?
There weren't any heaters on where the people were eating. I've done that outdoors with the heating, and it's bizarre. And I won't even sit inside one of those places with the plastic. I mean, to me, that's just a petri dish,
Yeah, I know, right? Aside from the breathing and because people, you're eating, the mask is off. Then you got.
I don't mind if it's open on all sides. Then I see the air coming through. I mean, they tell you in a taxi cab to keep the windows open.
Wow.
So why would you go to a restaurant?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
sit inside
But
a
that's just
plastic.
I fart incessantly when I'm in a taxi, so it's really for the driver's sake. Yeah.
Like Rudy Giuliani.
What?
Like Rudy Giuliani.
I don't get it.
Oh yes.
No, did you say fart?
Friend,
Yeah, I did. What did you think?
our dear friend Rudy Giuliani. Yes.
You didn't see that
I
Giuliani
remember him
farted during that Michigan.
No.
No, we all saw the hair dye. What happened?
It's another time he was in this. It was when he was testifying with the blonde woman who
The blonde bimbo. Yes, you were right. You started to say bimbo. You were right.
I stopped myself because that's not very nice, but she did.
No, it's not, but it's true.
And he audibly, what do they call it, flatulated.
Cut one. Yeah, all right, but I've done that.
But here's a question.
That's what we've turned into.
Yes.
But here's a question. That's not on the list of symptoms. They tell you, your sense of taste, your sense of smell, headaches and fever. They don't tell you farting. They don't say that. That's
I've definitely
one of the
heard. I've heard intestinal problems and stomach problems are up there. Like,
Really? Okay.
Upset
Good morning. Hi. I'm sorry we weren't properly introduced. Hello.
Nice to meet you and your bear.
Jim was up on the now.
Leslie, nice to meet you. David, I feel like I already know you because I've seen you a couple times on here, but I never actually.
Oh, thank you.
You're a celebrity in my mind.
Have him do the waitress.
Oh yeah, David. Let's do some. Jim was kind enough to sing a couple of songs for us. Can you do your specialty? It's at some point we'll do the Mr. Peabody, but can you do the waitress?
Well, what you talking about, love? I don't know what you mean. Would you like?
She's suddenly gone southern.
love?
What happened? Did she move? She sounds like she's from Kentucky.
No,
What's
she's
going
not
on?
English there.
No, I was saying English. There's some similarities between English and Southern, so I get it.
Yes, well, the original speech pattern, yes, if you want to go there, of
Yeah,
course.
totally Appalachian. Yeah.
I don't know. I have to get more in the higher register. It's more like Graham Chapman. You played the role, and he.
Yes, it always sounded like Graham Chapman. This morning it sounded more like Dolly Parton on a tear.
All right, I have to think more like Graham Chapman then, like this.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
that's
or like, my favorite is also when he's the mother and they're serving. That was disgusting. What's for afters? Well, there's rat pudding, rat cake, rat pie, and strawberry tart. Strawberry tart? Well, there's not too much rat in it. How many? 3. There are not really. I'll have some strawberry tart without too much rat in it.
Well, the man knows his Python, let me tell you, and in a sexual way too. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what that means. It's time for our yesterday quiz that we do every week here. It's trivia questions that we ask our 3 participants. And oh boy, I forgot, go figure, I forgot to pull up the roll a die. This is the most important thing. Really the most important thing we do all show.
Yeah, this will take half an hour, so don't worry. Just lean back and drink your coffee.
So where in Queens are you, David?
I'm in Jackson Heights.
Oh, cool.
So here's the deal. We're going to, and I will start with our guest, Jim, and then the 2 of you guys, and ask you guys to pick a number between 1 and 6. So Jim, you get to pick first.
3.
3 for Jim. And then ladies first, Leslie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being old-fashioned. I won't say the obvious. I'll take my usual 6. Thank you.
Leslie will take her usual 6, and David.
No, you gave me a funny look, David. I was going to say male chauvinist, but I didn't say it. Thank you.
When you said, "I'll take my usual 6," I said that's what you said last night.
Oh, thank you.
It's like you're Brett Summers and I'm Charles Nelson Riley.
Yes, it's like that. That's exactly what it's like.
And I would say 1.
So David Sheward goes for the number 1. So David has 1, Jim has 3, and Leslie has 6. What we're going to do, and all this does is decide who goes first. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm rolling the virtual die, and it comes up with a number 4. So the closest person to the number 4 is Jim. So Jim, you can decide, do you want to go first or second or third in the game?
I will go first.
Jim Knable will go first.
Smart move, Jim.
Okay.
I just get it over with. See what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll the die again. And what the hell? Why didn't it? I'm going to roll the die again. Come on, roll, please. It doesn't want to roll for me. Hold on. Here we go.
That's what you said last night.
Oh, jeepers,
David
jeepers.
is on it. David's
Well,
like,
he's going to do that until Lin-Manuel Noriega comes in and stops it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next number that came up on the die is the number 2, which David is closer to. So
Okay.
David, you get to decide, do you want to go second or third?
I will go second.
So David Shaw will go
do you
second.
have them all read from Time Stand Still?
Choice of mention.
So I have no choice in this matter at all. I get to go, sloppy thirds over here. Okay.
Ew, we said that
Don't
last
you
time. All right,
dare
ladies
say
and
it,
gentlemen.
David. Don't you dare say it, David.
Too late. Too late. All right. It's time to play the Today Yesterday game. It's a trivia quiz. And basically, we ask a question, and then the person to whom the question is addressed gets to try and answer it. If they get it right, they get 2 points. If they do not get it right, we roll a die, and then we figure out who gets to try and steal the question and get the 2 points instead. Okie dokie?
Okie dokie.
All right.
And yeah, essentially, Joyce, my wife Joyce is saying, Jim, it's just controlled chaos. It's basically all it is. So going first.
I'm just going to do what you tell me to do.
I lost my plan. Here we go. So the first question is going to go to Jim Knable, who is going first. And here it is. A year you might remember well, 1408. Oh, but I should mention, if you don't know the show, if you haven't seen it, all these questions are things that happened in history on December 12th, because this is December 12th, 2020. So every one of these is something that happened in the world on December 12th. On December 12th, 1408, Sigismund, the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Hungary, created this monarchic. Leslie's like, Holy Roman Emperor, King of Hungary, created this monarchic society, which was fashioned after the military orders of the Crusades. Was it? It's a multiple choice.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Order of the Cross, Order of the Dragon, Order of the Crusade, Order of Nuremberg. I'll read the question again. The year was 1408. Sigismund, the Holy Roman Emperor, King of Hungary, created this monarchic society fashioned after the military orders of the Crusades. Was it Order of the Cross, Order of the Dragon, Order of the Crusade, Order of Nuremberg?
Well, I mean, before you gave me multiple choice, I was going to say Florida, but I'm going to go with Order of the Dragon.
I missed what would you say? I didn't hear it. No, what was your actual answer though?
Dragon.
Order of the Dragon. Is that, though, and we do get to ask our people this just like they do on NPR, is that your final answer?
Yes.
You have already done better than so many of the guests who come in.
Good guess.
Jim Knable gets 2 points.
It was the coolest
Was that an
one.
inspired guess, or how did you know? What made you?
It just sounded right because of where it was, and I knew it wasn't Nuremberg. That didn't sound right. So the other ones are too boring. So Dragon, Hungarian, it felt right.
Let me tell you, it was inspired by the Order of St. George, 100 years later. So St. George and the Dragon, and it was also, this is kind of cool, it inspired the name of Vlad the Impaler's dad, Vlad Dracul, which means Vlad the Dragon or Devil. So
there you
go figure.
And David, it was also Bruce Lee's favorite.
What was the
Order of the Dragon?
I order from the Dragon twice a week, and they give egg roll. It's pretty good. But anywho, ladies and gentlemen,
but you can't enter there anymore, right? You can't enter since the indoor stuff.
Not when you were fired.
Oh, I get it.
I'm
sorry.
I apologize.
Peabody. Oh, Mr. Peabody.
We have a 2 point.
Do old Mr. Grant. I think that would be.
Can you do old Mr. Grant also?
Oh,
you mean like
Grant.
Oh, you mean
well,
like
maybe Leslie, that can be yours, and David can do old Mr. Peabody.
Mary Richards? Okay.
Oh, Mr. Grant. I actually don't. My voice is too low for Mary Richards. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe Bear can do it. Can Bear do it?
Oh, Bear's looking good.
Oh, Mr. Grant. No, that sounds like something on Mr. Ed.
That sounds like
That sounds like Mr. Ed.
That sounds like Granny Walton or something.
Granny Walton's singing on a vibrator. I don't know what the hell that was, but anywho.
Well, blame it on the bear, guys. Blame it on the bear. Ain't my fault.
All right. Well, it's time for question. Yeah, we're doing a quiz here, Jim. Just so you know. The second question goes to David Sheward.
Okay.
December 12th, 1694.
Okay.
The Royal Society censured scientist Edmund Halley for suggesting that this biblical event was caused by the impact of a comet.
Oh.
Was it? This is a multiple choice. The creation of the universe, the destruction of the Garden of Eden, the destruction of the Tower of Babel, the Great Flood.
Oh, that's interesting. I was Halley. I guess that's connected with the comet. So he's suggesting that one of those events. Okay, so it's not the creation of the universe, because that would be like, you know, a chicken and the egg thing. How can there be a universe if there's if there's no comet to create it? That doesn't make any sense. So we're saying the destruction of the Tower of Babel, which I think was more anecdotal. The Garden of Eden is also anecdotal, so that leaves the flood. I'll say the flood.
But is that your final answer?
Yes, it is.
Well, David Short, I'm afraid you're all wet because you're right. It was indeed the Great Flood. Well done.
Okay.
David, may I just ask, isn't it all anecdotal? You're saying it as if it's all true. It's all anecdotal.
What was the flood science thing? Was there
nothing? It's just, it's an irreligious remark. Don't worry about it.
The flood is the one that's least anecdotal. Let's put it that way.
I see. Okay.
Maybe not the whole world, but maybe there was a big flood at that time.
I mean, all the major religions call it, right? Everybody says there was some kind of flood.
Yeah.
The Mormons is just a toilet backing up. They were don't even know what. But
it was God's toilet backing up.
Yeah.
Halley wasn't the only one who suggested it at the time, but he was the one who got censured for that idea that the flood was the problem. Scientists have discounted, by the way, his theory anyway. So, but he was the guy. He was the comet guy, and this was his thing. Well done. So we have a 2-2 game, but now, Leslie, you get a question, and you get to maybe tie the game up 3 ways, which is what you asked for last night. Here we go. December 12th, 17... Okay, all right, David, you can do, oh no, Mr. Peabody on that.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. 1792 was the year Ludwig van Beethoven gets his first music lesson. Who gave it to him? Now, here's a hint, and it's a multiple choice. This composer spent many years as a choir boy before his own real musical training. Okay, but here's the multiple choices.
So the question basically is, who was Beethoven's first teacher?
Yeah, his first music teacher.
I just want to make sure I understood the question. Okay.
Helen Keller.
It's not your turn. It's not your turn. Hush.
Too soon. It's way too soon.
Hush.
Look, that's a very big stickler for the rules. So we're yeah.
Can I give you the answer without the 3 question? Without the 3.
If you do it, I certainly will not. Well, if you get it wrong, I'll give you one. Well, how do you guys feel about that?
Can I do it? Wait, can I do a Dr. Sue? If I get it right, can I get 6 points instead of 2?
No, how about guys? Are you okay if I give her an extra half point if she gets it right without the? No, I'm saying.
No, David Sheward. That was because I watched last week and I thought it was very funny. I wanted an extra half a point for breathing.
Dr. whatever her name is, who
Dr. Sue, yeah.
Dr. Sue wanted extra points for everything.
I know.
Because I grew my nails out. Can I get 3 points for that?
Yeah. I woke up this morning.
Guys, am I being slow this morning, or are you being slow? It was a joke, and it was way back in the beginning of all that.
I woke up this morning and I'm breathing. Can I have 2 points?
Yes, exactly. I believe I happen to know who Beethoven's first teacher was, though, because it's a question. We've spoken about this guy before.
Well, go ahead.
So do you want to?
If I'm right. Well, okay. You know what? I'll stop being a show off. Give me the 3 choices.
The choices are, there are actually 4 of them. This was Ludwig van Beethoven's first music lesson from someone who spent many years as a choir boy before his own musical training. Was it Lin-Manuel Noriega? I think we can discount that one. Was it Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, or Francesco Zappa?
You made that last one up. That's Frank Zappa, right? You made that last one up.
Did I?
Was there actually a teacher? But was there actually an Italian? Okay, forget it. It's okay. It's Haydn. I know it's Haydn.
Why do you know? Why? Why did you know?
I either saw it on Jeopardy once, or I learned it in class once. It's one of those nutsy things that stick in your head.
No, because usually the great thing about both David and Leslie, sometimes they'll get an answer and they'll
In
just
a
go,
movie, I know.
I saw it in this movie which starred so and so and was directed by so and
No,
so.
I
And
don't
in that
remember
movie-
any movie about it, but
Yeah.
it just had to do with the idea that, because we used to sing that song in class, Papa Haydn's dead and gone, but his memory lingers on, and we would sing it to the tune of one of Haydn's pieces. So we learned a lot about Haydn as a result. It was just
Well,
a
there you
crazy
go.
thing.
Did you know that he actually, they just unearthed a bunch of symphonies that he wrote with Ferdinand Gossik? What, you never play Haydn Gossik?
But Deacon Haydn, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Mr.
Did I get my
Peabody.
points or did I not get my points here while we're playing this?
Oh, but I didn't mention, by the way, you won. You won the question. You got your 2 points.
Thank you.
That
That's
was
what I wanted
absolutely
to do.
correct. Haydn,
That's the
by the
real
way,
Mr.
Haydn, sorry?
Peabody one. That was a real Mr. Peabody one, that hide and go seek one.
I
Yes,
know.
it was. Yes, it was.
Haydn, by the way,
Worthy-
also mentored
Worthy
Mozart.
of Bullwinkle.
And by the way, little extra thing. Yes, Virginia, and yes, Leslie. Francesco Zappa was a real composer who lived from 1717 to
Really?
1803. And Frank Zappa put out an album of him doing Francesco Zappa's
Really?
classical compositions, but he did it on modern instruments and synthesizers and synclaviers and things like that.
But they each had the name without any connection to the other. Is that the idea?
Yeah, he knew there was somebody,
Okay.
he had literally somebody else's name. Let me check out this guy's music. And he put, being Frank Zappa, he put out an entire album called Francesco
I
Zappa.
think Tupac did that too.
Tupac also did it. Joyce is right.
I thought you threw that in as a Dave Lefkowitz pun. You know,
I
I thought it
kind
was
of
just
did, but he was an actual composer who lived at the time that Beethoven did. So which is kind of cool.
and was never heard of again from the sound of it.
Until Frank Zappa unearthed him.
That's right. That's right.
And what's weird is Zappa was born in Italy, but he spent most of his time in the Netherlands. And we know how many great composers came out of there. So this is, I don't know if this has ever happened. We have a 3-way tie. I'm so excited. All 3 of our contestants have 3 points. Oh, sorry, 2
Good
points.
stuff.
That's because
now.
you've got 3 smarties here, right? That's the
Yes. Well, 3 people are versed in culture and history, which is kind of neat. But now we go back to Jim, because Jim, we get your second question directly here. The year is
Okay.
1821. Born today in Rouen, France, was this author whose novel Salammbô scandalized Europe and whose last unfinished novel, Bouvard et Péchuchet, obsessed him when he wasn't worried about his venereal diseases. Name him. I'll read the question again.
Oh, I don't
Your
get choices for this one?
pronunciation is hurting the question. I hate to tell
Thank
you.
you. It is. 1821, sorry, 1821 was the year. Born in Rouen, France. Okay, Leslie, you can help me. Am I pronouncing Rouen right?
It's Rouen, but that's close enough. We could get that.
Rouen?
It's the next part about the name of the name of the book. Is the problem?
Was
Go
this
ahead.
author whose novel Salammbô, scandalized
That's
Europe,
fine.
and whose last unfinished novel, Bouvard et Péchuchet, was it? You seem to know. Obsessed him when he wasn't worried about his venereal diseases. Name that writer, fellow writer, Jim.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's not Victor Hugo. I'm also pretty sure it's not the Marquis de Sade. So I'm going to say Flaubert. I could be
Are you
entirely
right?
wrong. I don't know French writers very well. So
Well, are you going to
Sure.
say that officially?
I'll-
or
well, why not? Sure. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else.
You are going with a Flaubert.
Wow.
Well done.
Amazing.
Leslie has her own
I should
bear.
probably
but
read
you
one of
got
his books.
Flaubert. Yes. Well done, man. It was in fact. So what was I mispronouncing, Leslie? Was it Bouvard?
It's the last one, but I haven't got it in front of me, so I can't help you with the pronunciation. It's just I can't. It's just it was mangled. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't mean anything personal.
No, I know. No,
Hey, you know,
right.
hey, Dave, we took a trip to France, didn't we? I mean, come on.
Well, is Flaubert
Paris.
at Père Lachaise? Do we see him? Is his grave there? I don't know.
Flaubert's, yes,
So we probably stopped by his grave when we literally went
probably.
to
We
Paris.
stopped by everybody else's grave.
Oh, yeah, we did Jim Morrison's and we did
Yeah. And
Alsace
Montmartre?
Labour, I think.
Well,
Montmartre? The cemetery there? Is that where he's buried?
yeah, the Père Lachaise. It's
It's right on the outskirts of Paris, actually.
It's
Yeah.
near the opera. It's closer to the outskirts where the opera is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so amazingly enough, I don't think this has ever happened where the first 4 questions have been gotten correct
Wow.
by all the contestants. Keep it going, guys.
Jim, you have to come back and play more. This is good
Yes.
competition.
This is exciting. Yeah.
Here we go. We have our next question, and this question will go to David Sheward.
Okay.
1912 was the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a theater question. Opening tonight at Broadway's Lyric Theater was The Firefly, the first musical success for this Czech-born composer who would go on to score The Vagabond King and Rosemarie. Name him.
Okay, I think I should know this, but it's either Romberg, I think it's Romberg, or Frimmel, one of the two. Let me think. So it's The Firefly, and what are his other credits?
I will read the question. I always try to read the question twice in case people are playing.
Okay.
1912 was the year. Opening tonight at the Lyric Theater was The Firefly, the first musical success for this Czech-born composer who would go on to score The Vagabond King and Rosemarie. Name the composer.
Well, I'm trying to think. Romberg was the subject of a film called Deep in My Heart with Jose Ferrer. And if there is a number from Rosemarie in Deep in My Heart, then that would be it. The only other name that comes to mind is Frimmel, who I think did have several other operettas on the New York stage at the time. And I think it's Sigmund Romberg. So I'm going to say Sigmund Romberg.
I'm afraid you are wrong about that one, David Sheward.
Okay.
That is not the correct answer. And so now, we haven't done this in a while. I've got to figure out how the next person can steal. Let me read the rules. I'm going to roll.
I may have given it away.
Gonna roll, maybe you didn't. But it's roll a die time to see who gets to maybe steal. Wait, oh, I'm sorry, in the wrong. Gotta get back to Google Chrome, gotta get back to roll a die. You've chosen your numbers. I'm going to roll that die. And the number that has come up is the number 5, which is closest to Leslie's number because she's number 6 throughout the game. So, Leslie, you can try and steal this question. Do you need me to read it again?
Can I have an extra point if I know his first name? It's Rudolph Frimmel.
Don't do a Dr. Sue.
Yeah.
Oh, what a Dr. Sue. I call the Dr. Sue rule.
I think that's just a legitimate point.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, but Leslie, are you going to go with that answer, though?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
It was the one that came to my mind before you read any names at all, or before David spoke. So, yes.
So, Leslie, indeed, as Tom Lerard said, that was quite Rudolph Frimmel. Well done. It wasn't Rudolph Frimmel.
Sorry, David.
No, that's all right.
But what's interesting is on that particular project, it was supposed to be Victor Herbert. He stormed off the project.
I didn't know that. If that had been the question, I wouldn't have known that answer.
He was working he was doing this thing where they were doing Naughty Marietta, and the soprano wouldn't do an encore. And so he fought with the director, and he just stormed off the project, and they got Frimmel instead to do Firefly.
But it's interesting because people know Victor Herbert, they know Sigmund Romberg. Nobody remembers Rudolph Frimmel. That name doesn't come up very often.
Today, nobody knows who Victor Herbert or Sigmund Romberg are.
Well, in the music world of people who care about operetta,
Yes.
The closest thing is when you watch Laurel and Hardy on like Thanksgiving or whatever. March of the Woods, that's it. That's when you hear it.
March of the Wooden Soldier.
But anywho, all you protest hep cats, it's time for another question. Did anybody get that reference to Sweet Chariot? So here we go. Let me see how we're doing with our points here. We have a tie between Jim and Leslie with 4 points each, and David, you're just a little bit behind with 2 points.
Okay.
We get to our 6th question, and that question does go to David, though. So you get to.
Oh, is it me?
No, sorry.
No, I missed the last one, so it's Leslie.
No, sorry, goes to Leslie directly. So you can build on your lead, Leslie.
To me, come on, it's my turn.
For me. All right. 1915 was the year. Well, he didn't survive to 100.
I'm sorry, David. I didn't hear the
Oh,
year.
I'm sorry. I'll start again. The year was 1915.
Thank
December
you.
12th is the day. Well, he didn't survive to 105, but Frank Sinatra was born today in Hoboken. Although in 1939, Sinatra was being paid $75 a week to sing with the Harry James Band, he soon got out of that contract to make $125 a week singing for another band leader. Who?
That is the most convoluted question you've come up with yet.
Isn't it? Yeah.
We're taking it from, we know he was born in Hoboken. 1939, did you say?
I'll read the question again, okay? On this date, back in 1915, Frank Sinatra was born. Although in 1939, he was being paid $75 a week to sing with the Harry James Band, he got out of that contract to make $125 a week singing for another band leader. Who?
I can only think of one. There's no multiple choice here, right?
No multiple choice, sorry.
Again, David Sherwood will appreciate this. I think this comes from various movies I've seen, black and white swing time movies. But I think, and somebody stop me, I think it was Tommy Dorsey.
Oh, was that going to be your?
Well, yeah, I can't think of too many other band leaders who would have had him on. So yeah, I think it was Tommy Dorsey.
Of Dorsey, you are right, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie Hoban Blake gets her 6th point by getting that answer correct. It was Tommy Dorsey.
By number 6 on the 6th question, how could I miss it?
Yeah. What? Sorry, I missed that. Okay, here we go.
I'm number 6. You gave me the 6th question. It had to be my 6th point.
Oh, so it's like a lucky number for you. And it's sort of 666, which is no.
Yes, which is so watch out, guys. Just watch out.
Well, Jim is going to be watching out for this next question because we got one for him.
For the record, I would have gotten the last 2 wrong completely.
I'm
I'm very relieved that you got them, so I didn't have to deal with them. I wouldn't have gotten them. I was going to say like Duke Ellington or Count Basie.
I would have guessed Benny Goodman.
Yeah, so I mean,
Benny Goodman, that would have been a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Sun Ra could have been it. No, I don't. Yeah. But anyway.
Did you say Sun Ra?
Yes. I
have a Sun Ra album, actually, believe it or not.
Some of them are actually listenable.
Oh, yeah.
Joyce says she dated Sun Ra. Really? How was he?
Is that before or after Lin-Manuel?
Did he shine? Was that before or after Lin-Manuel Noriega? She said it was hot. Yeah. Okay. Time for Jim's question.
What do you expect? I've been sequestered for like 10 months.
It's true. 1923 was the year. The birth is right. Bob Barker is born today in Washington State. Which of these is not true about The Price is Right? Okay. There's a multiple choice. The host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic. When the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards. Was it a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse? Or one contestant's prize was a treadmill, which was really inappropriate because she was wheelchair bound and had no feet. So, okay.
Was the number 2 question, did it have another question within it, or are those all 3 together?
There's 4. There's 4, and I'll read them.
Okay.
I'll do A, B, C,
D.
Yeah. 1923, The Birth is Right. Bob Barker, born today in Washington. Which of these is not true about the show The Price is Right? Is it A, the host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic, much as yours is through most of the program, Jim?
And I'm leaning, yeah.
Letter B, when the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards.
Mm-hmm.
C, a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse. Or D, one contestant's prize was a treadmill, really inappropriate because she was wheelchair bound and had no feet. Which of these is not true?
I'm going to go with D.
You're going to go with...
Because that sounds most like your sense of humor. So I'm going to go with that being yeah.
Well, are you sure about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Jim, I'm afraid you don't have a leg to stand on because that actually happened.
My
That
God.
was
Well, now we know. Now we
Oh,
have
well,
something to
no.
say at the next cocktail party we go to.
And they got her treadmill. It was beautiful. That really, really
Jim?
happened.
Jim, what year do you expect that cocktail party to be?
That's a good guess. I would say, you mean an actual person?
Yeah.
Maybe
2023, maybe?
I was going to say 25 to be safe, but
All right, I'm going to roll a die because you guys get to steal, perhaps.
Hey, you remember when I did to tell the truth? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Did you know that Bill Cullen limped? I mean, it was TV, so he never was shown walking because he had a very pronounced limp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I did not. No, I didn't.
I didn't know that either till I saw him do it, That's how I figured it out.
Now, I have rolled the one-sided die, and the die has come up, go figure, the number 6, which is Leslie's number.
I have
Leslie's
no
number
idea.
one.
You're going to have to read those. Well,
Sure.
we know it's not the last one, so
Yeah, we know it's not the
Either
one that, yeah.
it's a horse or something else. I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing, the contestant with no legs stumped Jim. David, I need to hear you. David, you need to say it. Oh, you're muted. Wait. David, are you there? Uh-oh.
What happened? David froze.
Are you all mute?
no.
No, am I mute? I think I'm okay.
Leslie, I hear you. Jim, I hear you.
Can you chat? Put chat to David.
I was hearing a baby crying a second ago.
Oh, that's Joyce's noise machine. Hold on.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's private, David.
So, David, can you hear me? David Stewart, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
David, can you hear me?
I think David's husband is monkeying.
Yes, I
again.
He doesn't
Yes,
know
I
because
can.
I can hear
I can hear you.
everyone.
We hear you now. We're good. Okay, so we hit the number 6. Leslie, I'm going to read the question again for you. So you
Just
get,
read me the 4 choices. Just read me the 4 choices, David.
well, what is not true about The Price is Right? The host's long, skinny microphone was designed so that original host Bill Cullen wouldn't have his chin blocked by the mic. When the show first started, home viewers could win prizes by mailing in their guesses on postcards, or a contestant once won a 2-year-old horse.
So we have to pick the not true out of those
Not
3.
true.
I'm going to say the microphone one.
The microphone for Bill Cullen.
Yeah, I'm going to. I know Alec Baldwin loves that microphone. It's the only reason he took the job on that on Tell the Truth.
So,
Matt.
Leslie, is that going to be?
I'm going to say that's not the right. That's
Oh,
not what.
yeah, in other words, that is the answer. It's the one thing that is not true about.
Yes, it's a very convoluted question.
I know. Well, Leslie, microphone home. You got it correct. That was not the reason that they had the reason they used the long skinny mic is kind of cool. They realized that contestants on The Price is Right have never been on TV before. And there's just so much going on. They didn't want them to be intimidated by one of these giant NBC or CBS microphones coming in their face. So they figured this very skinny long microphone will be less intimidating coming at someone who's like, I'm on TV.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was actually nothing to do with Bill Cullen or his limp or his vanity or any of that. So there you go. But Leslie, oh my gosh, Leslie, with 8 points.
Wow.
I think she won.
Well, yeah, we keep asking the questions anyway. I think David can still well, we'll see.
Just to pull a Dr. Sue and ask for more points.
Well,
David,
wait a minute now. Whose turn was that? Was Jim's turn, and I got to. Okay, all right. So we're
now it's my turn.
Okay.
So
Just trying to follow.
Question, and we go back to David. And by the way, the score is Leslie 8, Jim 4, and David 2. So let's see.
Here. This is embarrassing, but okay, keep going.
That's not embarrassing at all. My life is embarrassing, not this. 1923 was the year.
Yes.
Born the same day, same date, same year as Bob Barker is. Oh, I have to tell you his first name. Hold on one moment, please. I made a very dumb boo-boo.
By the way, every time you asked that question, I heard when you said birth is right, I definitely heard birthright, and I thought.
So now, I think Jim gets extra points for mentioning birthright.
Yeah.
Just for thinking that, yeah, I think I get some extra.
Well done. Well done. All right, I've done it. I've done it. So, born the same day as Bob Barker is Bob Dorough, a jazz musician and producer who collaborated with such diverse artists as Mel Torme and Nellie McKay. He also created and directed everyone's favorite educational musical series, Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, okay. All
The
right.
first series was Multiplication Rock, while the beloved second series was all about grammar. Which of these was not a song from the 9 episodes of Grammar?
Oh,
Grammar Rock. Okay.
There we go.
oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Was it, this is multiple choice, unpack your adjectives? A noun is a person, place, or thing. Busy prepositions. Golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay. Number 2 and number 4 were real songs. But I thought it was lolly, not golly, because the premise was it was these 3 generations of a store that sold adverbs. And it was father, son, and lolly, get your adverbs here, get your adverbs here. And so the second one that I said, what the second one was what?
I'll read the 4 again. I'll read the 4.
Okay.
The 4 choices. It's unpack your adjectives. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Busy prepositions. Golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay. A noun is a person, place, or thing. That definitely is one. And number 4 definitely was one. I find it quite interesting. A noun's a person, place, or thing. Oh, I took a train to another state. And da 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 da. Now he barks at Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones has a dog and something. All right. Okay. So 2 and 4 are definitely real songs. So it's either busy prepositions or something about adjectives.
Unpack your adjectives.
Unpack your adjectives. Now let me see. Adjectives. An adjective describes a noun, and prepositions are like. So it's busy prepositions or unpack your adjectives. I don't remember the adjective one. Busy prepositions. It's one of those 2. I'm trying to visualize the cartoon. There's conjunction. I remember conjunction junction. It's too bad you didn't have that one in there. Conjunction junction. What's your
a little too?
Yeah,
everything was conjunction.
Sung by Jack. And
by the way, it's still 2020 while David is.
All right, busy prepositions.
Is that your final answer?
Blossom Dearie also sang for Multiplication Rock, but anyway.
There's a bit of trivia for you, but your answer is, which is it?
Busy prepositions.
Letter C. I'm afraid you needed a different proposal, David. That is not the correct answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I gave the right answer away then. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, anyway, we get to roll the die. Let's see. And the die comes up number 2. So that is closer to David's number 1. So David, you get to make number 2 for us. I'm not David. I'm sorry, Jim.
Right.
I was thinking of the joke and I blew the.
I'll make it fast. I think it's unpack your adjectives because unpack is such a contemporary term for things. You know, I wouldn't think that was it.
So you're saying unpack your adjectives.
Yeah.
And besides which, he gave you all the other answers, so you know that's the only one left.
I wasn't really paying attention. I was thinking about something else at the time.
That's okay.
Just kidding.
Well, speaking of adjectives, Jim, that should have been a perfect answer.
But it wasn't.
It's not. That is not the correct answer.
Wait a minute.
Leslie, you get to steal.
Oh. I get it
I
now.
believe David, you're so persuasive. I believed everything you said. Now I have to go back and, okay, you said you're so sure that 2 and 4.
If you were listening to what I said, you'll get what the answer is. But go ahead. I think she's frozen.
David, I figured I was so far away from hearing. You got to go one more time.
Oh, yeah, I will.
David Stewart guessed the. Wait.
I'll read the two that are left.
Just guessed the adjectives. That was wrong. David Stewart guessed the prepositions.
I'm not telling you.
This rule.
This is the thing that makes it great where the teams help each other. I'm not doing that.
Mike Bear wasn't any help at all. He wasn't listening.
I'm not helping
either,
you.
So. Just read it one more time real quick, please. Just the answer.
Bob Dura.
Adjectives.
Yeah, the choices are, I'll read all four of them again. Unpack your adjectives. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Busy prepositions. Golly, 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 get your adverbs here.
Okay, so he sang that one song. So it has to be the second one.
Which is?
That's all that's left. No, that's all that's left out of all the things, the singing and the prancing and all of it. That's all that's left that hasn't been get.
So you're saying it's letter B? A noun
is a person, place, or thing.
Is that your final answer? That's B. That is letter B. Yeah.
Okay.
No! No!
David goes and sings that stupid song, and I believe it.
Wow.
Well, I can explain. The correct answer is B. Because it's not golly, 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 get your adverbs here. It's lolly, 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 get your adverbs
I
here.
heard you say that, but none of it made any sense to me, so I didn't.
Good to know, Leslie.
It's lolly, 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 get your adverbs here. Lolly, get your adverbs here.
Yeah. And by the way, you were right about Blossom Dearie. She sang a number of the songs in there, as did Bob Dura, who wrote a bunch of the songs. But did you know, I'm sure you did, who wrote, who did write a noun as a person, place, or thing, and also the classic interjections?
Carole King.
Hmm?
Carole King?
No, good guess. This is not for points or anything, but it's one of the first assignments that she had before she became a very well-known writer for Broadway.
Mary Rogers?
Another great guess, but no.
There aren't a lot of female, lyricist or composer?
She would be, this is a good question. I believe she is the lyricist. I could be totally wrong.
Not Lynn Ahrens.
It is Lynn Ahrens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lynn Ahrens. She wrote a noun is a person, place, or thing, and like a dozen or so other songs from all the Schoolhouse Rock stuff. One of her first big things.
You see, David Stewart, if you were playing correctly, you would have wheedled an extra half a point for that. But you didn't ask, so you
I ain't no Dr. Sue.
Interesting. He might get 3/4 of a point, but it took you a while to get to Lynn Ahrens. So, and then you said not Lynn Ahrens.
I'm not a Dr. Sue. I'm not going to beg for points. I have my pride.
You are the only one in this room who does. You show up in this program, David. You have no. You really.
Right, exactly.
All right, well, question. By the way, the game is already, I think, out of the park, but we're just.
Is it over? Is the game over? Are we there yet?
I'm sorry?
Are we there yet?
You've already won, but you get to add to your score if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I love to do that. Go ahead.
Like Donald Trump, we fight to the bitter end.
That's right.
Never concede. Never concede.
Did you ever play the bitter end?
That was the one place I didn't play. I think I played everywhere else on that street except for the.
I think they just talked about the fact that it was going to go under.
Oh no, really? Well, the 21 Club is going under. That's going.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I don't know why they can't just put it in half and make it.
You know where I played on that street was Kenny's Castaways.
Okay.
That was the place that I played.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm an NYU grad, so I pass by all of them every single day. You know.
Yeah.
I missed the bottom line. That was
Bag It In.
That's where I went. Yeah.
Yep. Do you, Jim, I'm not sure. I can't see you except as a postage stamp. So I don't know. Do you happen to know a guy by the name of Hogan, Jonathan Hogan?
Yeah.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't.
He plays the Bag It In a lot. He's a guitarist. I directed his cabaret show, but he really just goes down there to play. He loves to sing his stuff.
You know who there's I think video footage of playing at the Bag It In is Lady Gaga before she was Lady Gaga.
Wow.
Wow.
When she was a songwriter, just doing her thing.
Cool. Cool. By the way, is that the same Jonathan Hogan who was the actor who's been on Off-Broadway?
Yes.
Oh, he's now doing
yes.
music? I didn't know that.
No. Jonathan has always gone to the Baggot, and like once a week they've got a spot for him, and he does his. He's a singer-songwriter. He wrote the music for one of Lanford Wilson's plays on Broadway. And he.
That's it. Well, no, that's right.
And when I heard some of his stuff, I had a talk with him. I've known him for years. We were at Circle Rep together. So I asked him if he was interested in doing a show, and he went, cabaret, no, can't do that.
Oh.
He said, I got to have a beer in my hand. So he came out to do the show with a beer in his hand.
If it's
and
the
it was
same,
great.
Yeah.
Jonathan Hogan.
If it's the same Jonathan Hogan, I just saw him in the Woody Allen film that was not released in the U.S.
Oh, right, probably. Yeah, but he's still working.
Timothy Chalamet's father.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but he you know Jonathan's in everything. He was playing at the Mint recently. He does everything.
I was watching him 30 years ago in theater.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Well, he was a young guy then. Now he's an older guy, But
So
he
are we
still
all.
writes and sings, and he's got a very intriguing. It's not exactly Tom Lehrer. It's a little more romantic than Tom Lehrer, but it's.
What can be more romantic than cutting off a woman's hand and keeping it and kissing it while you're in the institution? That's the most romantic music gets for me, Leslie.
Or mathematicians. Yes, go ahead.
We have our 9th question, and you get to get 2 more points if you get it right, Leslie Blake.
As long as you don't take any points away, I'm happy to try.
No, I would never do that. 1946 was the year Happy Birthday Tide detergent, introduced by Procter & Gamble. Which of the following is true about Tide? Its first advertising slogan was "So many suds." B, unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black letters on white. C, a few years ago, thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack.
Oh, yeah.
Or D, Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected. So here's the question again. It's 1946, Tide detergent comes out by Procter & Gamble. Which of these is actually true? One of these is true.
Oh, which is true and the rest are lies.
The rest are lies. Which of these is true?
Reverse to the other one.
Usually I do it reverse, but this is 3 lies, 1 truth. Is it the first advertising slogan was "So many suds"? Is it, unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black and white, black letters on white? Was it, a few years ago, thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack? Or was it Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected? Which of these is true, Leslie Blake?
I would think that, knowing my own relationship to Tide over the years,
Okay.
and I would have said the first ad would have been, that's a soap, but that didn't happen. So I'm going to think that it's the black and white box. I can't imagine any kind of black and white advertising in 1946.
So you're saying that the black and white box was true? That it was.
Oh no! I have to give you 1 true and 3 false. No,
Hey,
I'm
you haven't
sorry.
been listening.
I'm sorry. 1 true, 3 false. No, I try to listen, but he changes the rules all the time.
Well, yeah, this is
1 true. I'm sorry. Okay,
It's
thank
1
you for
true.
stopping me. Okay, I would think that so many suds probably was the.
that's the truth.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
The first advertising slogan for Tide, "So many suds."
Oh.
I'm afraid the Tide rolled out for you, Leslie Hoban Blake. That is not true, although in their advertising they have used suds back in, but that was not ever one of their actual advertising slogans. So you guys get to steal. I'm going to roll a die. It came up 6. Leslie did not get to go again. But
Yes, I get to go again. I get another chance.
no.
I want another chance. Give me a chance.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Sue had an annoying bear too.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're all piling on poor Dr. Sue today.
Dr.
It was
Sue.
probably lovely. She was very nice. It was
Dr.
fun.
Sue was great.
I will remember that, David. I will find a place to use that against you. Trust me. I
Leslie,
will
you
never
didn't even
fascinating
show up
sequence.
last week, you know, so you can make fun. All right, here we go. The die, we rolled the die and it came up number 1, which is David Sheward. So David,
Okay.
you.
Which of these is true?
Which of these is true? I can read them again if you like. About Tide detergent. First advertising slogan was so many suds.
Okay.
Unlike the orange, white, and blue colors we see on bottles today, a box of Tide soap used to be just black letters on white. Is it a few years ago thieves were stealing Tide jugs from supermarkets to trade for crack? Or Barry Manilow wrote 3 different jingles for Tide detergent, all of them rejected.
I think it's the with the crackheads, because there was this thing, this fad recently where people were ingesting Tide Pods, and it was like a whole, one of these stupid things that they do. So I'm going to go with that they were stealing it to trade for crack.
You're really going to go with that one, are you?
I'm going to say that's true. Why not? What have I got to lose?
Well, that was a very wise crack on your part, David Sheward. Well done. There was actually, this had nothing to do with the Tide Pod thing. This is back in 2013, a story in New York Magazine that they take detergent really seriously in the hood. So bands of criminals would go into supermarkets, steal Tide, and then for like $5 worth of crack or $10 worth of crack on the streets, they would trade the detergent. Honest to God.
Where did you have to go, David Lefkowitz, to get the information for this question? Where the hell did you have to go to get this information?
Internet.
That's New York Magazine.
Like
He went
Robert
to-
Johnson, I have a deal with the devil. He's a trivia devil.
Right.
He went to 8th Avenue in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
He got
He
his
goes
time
to the
machine.
crossroads, and there it is. Okay.
Well, but well done. That question did end up going to David Sheward. So yeah, you picked up 2 more points, and we can do 1 more question, just for funsies again. And this is going to be our tiebreaker, but there's no tie.
Well, wait, does that go to me, or does it just go to anybody?
Or go
I
to
guess
Jim.
we can do like a random thing. If you have a piece of paper, maybe you can write down the answer and show
So
it.
what's the
Oh,
score
okay.
as it stands now?
All right. Just a
Sorry, what?
minute.
What's the score now?
Oh, I mean, the score is Leslie has 8, David has 4, Jim has 4. So Leslie, you won. You won the game like 2 questions ago. This is
Okay.
again just for fun. But what we're gonna do, I don't know if you have a piece of paper or whatever, but when I call out, like I'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you can all show your answers to this very last.
Oh, wait, I don't have.
Jim, you can call it out if you don't have a pen.
Yeah, I've got a
Yeah,
piece of paper right here.
fantastic.
Something.
Wait.
So this
wait,
way, you can all answer at the same time when I do 3, 2, 1, and we can see
Okay.
you're right. And then a couple of you can get this one right, so you can all get points on it. Tell me when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Getting pen and paper.
Okay.
It's not like
I-
Jeopardy. We don't have to do it like what is.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be in the form of a question.
Okay, does not. Okay.
You can phrase it in the form of a preposition if you so choose.
Yeah.
So just letting you know. Here comes the question. Final question in our Yesterday quiz today. The year 1957. A GE chemist invented borazon, a compound of boron and nitrogen that is really special. Why? And this is a multiple choice. It's 18% harder than a diamond. It's now used in the treatment of liver disease, including cirrhosis. During a copper shortage, it was used in American pennies. Because of expense, it hasn't been manufactured since 1977. Okay, I'll read that one more time, and then you can hold up A, B, C, or D, or whichever answer it is, but don't show them yet. 1957 was the year. General Electric chemist invented borazon, a compound of boron and nitrogen. And it's very special. Why? Is it A, 18% harder than a diamond? B, it's now used in the treatment of liver disease, including cirrhosis. C, during a copper shortage, it was used in American pennies. Or D, because of the expense, it hasn't been manufactured since 1977. So take your time to write your answers, and then I'll give a countdown, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
And after I say 1, you hold up your pieces of paper. So
All right.
some nods when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Leslie, ready? I see ready. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. I see a B from, keep holding. I see 2 B's or not 2 B's. And Leslie has the A. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is, as Fonzie would say, Leslie, A.
Oh, that's
18%
fitting.
harder than
She
diamond.
would just demolish us in the end. That's good.
They're still manufactured. All the other stuff is not true at all. But it is 18% harder than diamond. And more importantly, or as importantly, that means it can withstand much, much higher, hotter temperatures than stuff like steel and iron and diamond even. And
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you don't have to enslave people to mine it either.
Well, or you could, if you wanted to. I guess you could. the borazon miners of
Right.
South Africa.
Whatever.
Like, oh, I'm carrying the boron. Everything. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Today, Yesterday quiz with me, Dave Lefkowitz, and I got to introduce myself first. That's my ego. But first of all, thank you so much to Leslie Hoban Blake. Remember that you can hear her and Charlie Gross do their podcast called Critics Circle. How can people find it, and what's your latest episode?
Well, we called it a podcast, but it's really a vidcast. It's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I intended to do it as a podcast, and somehow it wound up being with video. So it's on YouTube, and it's on MNN. It sort of took the spot from Two on the Aisle.
So, and what's like the most recent episode? What do you do on it?
We just had an interview from Paper Mill Playhouse. Really nice. We did an in memoriam for Nick Cordero.
Oh, right, yeah. His wife got hired for something. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I feel bad for her. She's been writing his death so well. You know, but what did she get hired for? Something. I forget what it was.
Burlesque theater.
Yeah. So, David Sheward, let's remind people the 3 places that they can read your writing. Besides buying your book about George C. Scott, they can read you at thedaviddesk.com, theaterlife.com, and culturalweekly.com.
Right.
You gotta get them all.
Yes, we got them all.
Yay. So read David Sheward by all means. And Jim, where can people, I'm sorry, I don't think the rabbi ever gave out your website, which is JimKnable.com, JIM. KNABLE, Jim Knable. And by the way, I apologize. Every time I've mentioned you over the past like 15 years, I had your name as Knable.
I know.
Pronounce it ever?
No, never. And you're the first person who's ever done that. I've heard other things like Knable.
Yeah,
so Knables.
I apologize. It's Knable.
That's, you said it right every single time today, and I've loved
it.
Well,
thank you. Can people get the new Randy Bandits album at your website?
Absolutely. You can find it on the website. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Bandcamp, anywhere where they sell things or stream things. It's Amazon.
The current Randy Bandits album, which is called
Blue Reunion.
And also the previous green, yellow, fuchsia.
You got Redbeard, you got Golden Arrow, you got everything. Even my so the Jubador, I put out a little unorthodox demos for the Jubador. So if you're into those songs, including Holocaust Survivor, Beauty Pageant, Cutie Pie, is a kind of lo-fi recording of those. The Randy Bandits album are more like studio albums, so they're a little fancier sounding, but depends on your taste.
Well, Jim, it has been absolutely terrific having you as a guest on the Deb. I'd kind of also like to, I don't know about next week, but I would like to invite you back to play the trivia game if you're ever free on a Saturday morning again, because I thought this was a really good group.
I think
it was totally fun.
The best of any guests.
Oh,
so
by far the best, Jim. Very, very much so.
Thank you. I think I got lucky twice.
No disrespect to Vince Giordano and
Dr. Sue.
Or Dr. Sue or the other players that we've had on this game. A lot of you guys have been great, but Jim, yeah, you've been really a marvelous contestant. And you've all been great contestants. Thank you. Stay healthy. Happy Hanukkah to you, Jim, and half of you, Jim, not the other half.
I'll take it.
Half of Leslie. Happy, happy.
Jim?
Supreme.
Jim, are you happy? Jim, are you happy too also?
Yes, my father's half.
Yeah, my father's half also. My mother was Catholic, right?
So together we're nothing.
Oh,
that's right, exactly.
Yeah,
reporter.
I don't know
when I was a little girl. When I was a little girl and I read about Anne Frank, I thought, oh, geez, it doesn't matter. I would still go, So
Right. Except for that, and if they actually send people away in trains to kill them, then we'd count. So that's
exactly.
Yeah.
one of
So
the
I
bonuses.
I grew up with that sense of belonging, you know.
Right.
So you're a quarter.
No, my
There's
son
a
is a
girl on the
quarter.
end of that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just
I'm half. My son is a quarter, but he
Oh.
married a Jewish girl, so I don't know what that does.
Oh,
it brings him back into the fold.
Yeah.
Leslie.
Their
Yeah.
their
Back in the
children.
phone, right?
Their
I think it
children
makes you
do that.
Catholic now.
So
Pardon?
actually, Jim, I have to ask: did you ever do anything, or do you know about another another musician named Sean Altman, who does a thing called Jumongous?
No, I mean
You have to check it
that
out.
was the most Jewish thing I ever did was the Jubidor thing. That
Well,
was
that's
like
pretty damn
a
Jewish.
one-off. Yeah,
No.
seriously.
No, but you should check him out because he used to be in the group called Rockapella. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
written some other
Rockapella, I
songs
know that,
like that. As a solo artist, he has a whole separate project called Jumongous. And his songs are very funny and very,
Cool.
not as dark, perhaps, as Holocaust beauty pageant survivor
Yeah.
song.
Cutie pie. Yeah.
But can anything be? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining our Today Yesterday quiz on This Day Has Gone By. I'm going to let you all go. Have a great week. Have a healthy week. Happy holidays to you. And
Yes.
see you guys soon.
Happy Hanukkah to you, Dave.
Oh, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks,
Yes.
Leslie.
And
Bye-bye,
And
guys.
Joyce.
Happy.
And
Thanks for
Joyce,
having
not
me.
to leave
Great to
anybody
meet
out.
you guys.
Thank you. Bye
See you
bye.
next time, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Nice playing.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm just taking you guys out. Oh, bye now.